What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Fearless Nick YouTube channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be going through my round 23 2022 AFL tips / predictions. And obviously, as well as that, we're going to be going back over my round 22 tips from last week and seeing how I went. If you guys go on to enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel as big as we can, and I need all your help to do so. So if you could please hit that big red button down below, that would be much appreciated. Anyways, without any other further ado, let's get stuck in away. So for last week's tips, which was round 22, obviously, I got an 8 out of 9 this week, which is probably close to my best score. If not, it is my best score, unless I will take 8 out of 9. It's a pretty good score, obviously. But yeah, we're going to quickly go back over the games from last week, starting off with the Friday night game between the Saints and the Lions. The Lions were too good for the Saints on Friday night. They won by 17 points. It probably wasn't the most convincing win ever, but the Lions were able to come through for my tips and win by 17 points. Next game at Marvel Stadium between the Dogs and the Giants. I didn't watch this game at all, and it was probably fair enough, because apparently it was one of the most boring games you'll ever watch. But the Dogs came through and just got over the line over the Giants by 5 points. Next game at the Adelaide Oval between the Crows and North Melbourne. Obviously didn't watch this game either. It probably wasn't. It was a good contest. It was great to see Ben Cunnington come back after, I think he had testicular cancer twice. But yeah, the Crows were too strong in the end for North Melbourne. A very tough side to beat over there in Adelaide. And got that tip right as well. Next game at Metricon Stadium between the Suns and the Cats. I did watch this game though. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than what it obviously was. The Cats destroyed Gold Coast from almost the get-go. I think, the Suns really struggled, like a lot of teams, to get through Geelong's defence. Gold Coast, there's no shame in losing to Geelong, but it's fair to say they were totally outclassed in that game. Next game at the MCG, we had this was an absolute classic game. It was between Melbourne and Carlton at the MCG. This was an absolute classic game, this one. Fair play to Carlton. I mean, they took it up to Melbourne all night and did not give in, but D's just pipping the Blues at the last hurdle there. Next game at Optus Stadium, we had the Dockers and West Coast, and it's fair to say this was a classic Western Derby if you've ever seen one. So many punch-ups, so many ripped jumpers. I saw Caleb Sarong, I think it was, had his entire jumper ripped. There was some huge fights. It was a derby of old, but I think it's fair to say the Dockers are the better team on paper. They're far better than West Coast, and they just showed that again in that game. Next game at the MCG, we had Richmond and Hawthorn, and unfortunately I couldn't watch this game live, but it was great to get a win over Hawthorn. I don't take Hawthorn lightly, as some of you may know. I think they're a pretty talented side, and I think they're going to be a pretty good side. We played exceptionally good footy. Tom Lynch kicked 8 goals. Great win over Hawthorn there. 7 tips in a row there after that game there. Next game of the SCG, we had probably the most anticipated game of the entire round. It was between Sydney and Collingwood. And Collingwood's streak finally comes to an end. Sydney breaking Collingwood's winning streak of, I think it was 11 in a row. The Pies won, the great win by the Swans. Any win over Collingwood these days is a great win. So, hat off to the Swans. They played really good footy. And the last game at Marvel Stadium, which was between Essendon and Port Adelaide, and this was the game that screwed over my tips. I would have got 9 out of 9 if it wasn't for this game. I did tip Essendon, as most of you watching this video will know that now. In hindsight, I probably should have tipped Port, but there you go. So, so 8 out of 9, probably my best score of the year, like that. And now let's move on to the round 23. Alrighty, so here we are, ladies and gentlemen, round number 23. Can you believe it? We're at the final round before finals. So, there will be a video out on my finals predictions, but that'll be in the whole video. I'll do the whole final series with that video, and you will find out who my predicted premiers are. But nonetheless, let's get straight into the round 23 tips. And the first game, we kick it off with a cracking game here at the Gabba between the Lions and the D's. The Lions obviously coming off an okay performance against St Kilda that game, whereas the D's, well, they had they stole the victory from the Blues ultimately, the D's last week, and Cozzy Pickett kicking the match winner obviously to break Blues fans' hearts. So this makes it a really interesting game to tip. I feel like overall, I think Melbourne's defence is stronger than Brisbane's, just because Melbourne don't leak as many goals, and assuming they have Lever and May and Petty in the team, they don't leak as many goals as they would when one or two of those guys are out. So it's at the Gabba though. If it was at any other ground, I would tip the D's, but it is at the Gabba. I don't feel like Brisbane can definitely win this, but I am going to tip Melbourne in this one, only because I feel like if their defence can get a hold of Brisbane's forward line, I think Melbourne win this game. And I feel like if Melbourne demolish Brisbane in the midfield like they did last time, I think a similar result may happen. So I am going to tip the D's, and I reckon they will win by, let's go 8 points. Next game at Manuka, I think this is. It does say UNC Canberra Oval, which is now known as Manuka. We have got the Giants up against Freo now. The Giants sort of just want their season to end ultimately. It's been a horror year for the Giants. They just came off a good, and it's not really a good, but it's more of an average performance against the Dogs, who aren't the strongest side, even though it was at Marvel. Whereas Freo are absolutely flying at the moment. If they win this game, Freo, they need to win this game to have a chance at top 4. I don't think they'll make top 4. But I think they might, they'll definitely have a chance if they win this game, and I feel like they will. I'm going to tip Freo in this game. I feel like they've just been the stronger side this year. I think it's fair to say they've been the much stronger side this year, the Dockers. And like I've said, they're a pretty reliable team if you're a tipping person, and I think I am going to go the Dockers in this one. And you know what? I'm going to go Freo by 38 points. Next game at Marvel Stadium between North Melbourne and Gold Coast. Now, it's fair to say both these teams coming off a result they'd almost rather forget. Well, especially Gold Coast, they didn't really put up that much of a fight against Geelong, but that's what they do, Geelong, to be fair. North Melbourne played all right against Adelaide. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. I think I'm going to go the Suns in this one, and I'm going to tip them to win by, I'm going to say 25 points. There over North Melbourne. Next game at GMHBA Stadium, we have Geelong up against West Coast. Well, the Cats, they're pretty much the flag. They are the flag favourites, I think. Geelong this year. West Coast, on the other hand, as you can see, obviously not doing too well this year, are they? The Eagles. I feel a bit bad for West Coast, honestly. I mean, so they're not normally a team to do so poorly in a season. They're normally actually quite successful in making consecutive finals. Geelong, I believe Jeremy Cameron's not playing, so that could maybe save West Coast from 100 points. I feel like because Cameron's out, I don't think it'll be 100 points, but I am obviously going to tip Geelong because they're the much stronger side in this one. It's at GMHBA Stadium as well, which West Coast absolutely hate that stadium. So I'm going to tip Geelong in this one. I think it will be a big margin still, but because Jeremy Cameron's out, I'm not going to go 100 points, but I am going to tip the Cats to win by 68 points. Next game at the MCG between Essendon and Richmond. The Bombers, well, they were pretty pathetic, if you ask me, against Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide were just, it was like they were playing against witches' hats. Port Adelaide, they really just weren't challenged at all. The Bombers just put in no effort, especially in that last quarter. Whereas Richmond, we've been going pretty well, honestly, if you ask me. We found the form at the right time. I think Dusty might be back for this game. I don't know. Obviously, I'm recording this on the Wednesday, so I don't know if he's going to be available yet. And I reckon we should get the job done here. We've had a bit of a winning streak over Essendon. I'm pretty sure the last time, I'm pretty sure we haven't lost to Essendon in like 5 or 6 years. So yeah, it's been a very long time for the Bombers against Richmond, but I feel like that streak will continue here. I feel like, yeah, we're just the better side on paper, and I feel like we should win this game. I think Essendon may put up a little bit of a fight, but I reckon Richmond should be winning this game, and I reckon we will win by 23 points. Next game at the Adelaide Oval, we have got the showdown between the Power and the Crows. The Power obviously coming off a great performance against the Bombers, or would you say it's more Essendon maybe didn't show up than Port Adelaide? No, I think Port Adelaide played pretty well, honestly, if you ask me. Was the Crows did what they needed to do against North Melbourne. I think that's now 4 wins in a row for the Crows. They've found a little bit of form the back end of this year. Yeah, obviously last time these two played, we all know Jordan Dawson had a kick after the siren to give the Crows a massive win against Port Adelaide, and I think that was to send Port 0-4, I think, or 0-3. I don't know, somewhere around there. But I feel like the Crows have a chance in this one. I feel like they have a genuine chance because they don't lose often at Adelaide Oval, but I feel like this might be the game where Port Adelaide get their revenge for earlier in the year. So I am going to tip Port in this one. I made the mistake of not tipping them last week. So I feel like I owe Port fans a tip there. So I feel like I'm going to tip Port Adelaide in this game. I feel like this game could be kind of close though. I reckon let's go 19 points. Next game at UTAS Stadium, we've got the Hawks and the Dogs. You can arguably say we are now entering the start of the matches that really count. Now, obviously, this is a huge game in terms of the top 8 race. Not for Hawthorn, but for the Dogs. The Dogs obviously want to get into the finals. They've got a massive chance to get in this week. I'm pretty sure if Carlton lose by, I think it's a goal or two, and the Dogs win by, let's say, a goal or two, the Dogs make it. So that's how tight it is right now. It is at UTAS Stadium though, and we know the capability of Hawthorn at that ground. It is remarkable. They beat Brisbane there, Gold Coast there. They're a very good operation at that ground, Hawthorn. They know the ground better than pretty much everyone else. So there is a chance for a Hawthorn upset here, and the Dogs have been inconsistent. The Hawks won this game last year. You know what? I'm going to go an upset. I've tipped Hawthorn. Like I've said, I've rated Hawthorn this year. I'm going to tip Hawthorn to win this one. I reckon they're a good shout at UTAS Stadium. And if Hawthorn win that, Carlton make finals. So if you're a Carlton fan out there, you better get behind Hawthorn in this match because yeah, if the Hawks beat the Dogs, the Blues make finals no matter on the next game, which is huge as well. But I'm going to tip Hawthorn in a bit of an upset, and I reckon the Hawks will upset the Dogs at UTAS Stadium by 16 points. The second last game of the round is arguably the most important and most anticipated game of the entire round, and one of the most anticipated matches of the year, in my opinion. It is between Carlton and Collingwood. Now, I was watching Blue Abroad's fan cams, and some of the Blues fans were saying it's almost like a war between them and Collingwood at the moment, which I thought was quite funny, because, you know, it kind of is in a way. I mean, Collingwood, it's all to play for them as well because they want to make top 4. If they win this, I don't think they can make top 4. Oh, sorry, if Collingwood lose this, I don't think they can make top 4. Whereas the Blues, I'm pretty sure, are battling for finals. So I am, geez, it's really hard. Carlton showed a lot of heart last week, whereas Collingwood, I think, were a little bit outclassed. And I'm pretty sure Jack Ginnivan's not playing, so that is huge for this game. I think I'm going to go Carlton in this one. I feel like they showed up. They showed up when it mattered last week. I know they didn't get the result, but they were pretty sure 10 seconds off beating Melbourne. So they came pretty close. If Carlton get this one done, I feel like they're going to bring the same intensity that they did against Melbourne. And I feel like with Jack Ginnivan playing, that could play a big part. So I am going to tip the Blues in this one, and I reckon they will get it done by let's go 9 points. I think the Blues will get this one done. It's not that I don't rate Collingwood. I think it's just Carlton will know what's on the line, and I think they will bring their best footy this year, Carlton. And the last game of the round is between St Kilda and the Swans. The Saints cost themselves their season last week, or more so Max King cost them their season last week, kicking 0 goals 5, and they really missed a golden opportunity there, St Kilda, whereas the Swans are absolutely flying at the moment. I feel like it's a pretty no-brainer tip here. I think you got to go the Swans. I think they've just been the much better side this year, obviously. I think they are, in my eyes, they're probably the second best side in the comp, maybe just in front of Melbourne and Brisbane and Collingwood. But the Saints won this game last year, but I feel like the Swans should be winning this game, in my opinion. So those are my round 23 tips. But before we go, let's just take a quick look at the. So here we are. Here is the Fearless Nick Comp ladder after round 22. We're going into the final round. So obviously this will be the last week of tipping. So whoever ends up on top of the ladder, I will give a shout out to. Whoever ends up on top of the ladder at the end of of round 23, I will announce and shout out the winner like I promised, which will be in my finals prediction, my AFL finals predictions. So I will shout that guy out at the end of the year. We have Max T, who is I reckon should finish top. All he needs is 8, I reckon, and he's won it. So he got an 8 this week, Max T. He's on 133 correct tips this year, closely followed by St. Lai Ben P, who got a 6, and he's on 131 correct tips. Tyson Magpie Army 2016 got a 7 this week. He's on 128 correct tips. We've got Sam H, or Calm the Catters, who got a perfect score of 9 this week. So I think that deserves a shout out in itself. So shout out to Sam H, or Calm the Catters, if you're watching this video. I'm currently in 5th. Obviously, as you know, I got an 8, and I'm on 126 correct tips, equal with Jake L, who got a 7, and he's on 126 correct tips as well. In 7th, we've got Angus, who got a 3 this week. That's unfortunate, mate. 121 correct tips he is on after round 22. Shannon got a 7. He's on 118 correct tips. Lincoln got an 8. Also, he's on 117 correct tips. We've got Victor B, who's in 10th, who got a 9 as well. So shout out to you, Victor. He's on 116 correct tips. We got Louis in 11th, who got a 6 this week. He's on 112 correct tips. And like I said, still a fair gap between Louis and Dylan. Dylan got a 5. He's on 78 correct tips. Warwick J, he got an 8 this week. He's on 75 correct tips. Felix H, who got a 3 this week. He's on 70. He's tied with Deesner, who also is on 70. He also got a 3. And Adam S got 3 as well. He's on 69 correct tips. Yeah, that is my my comp ladder, my Fearless Nick comp ladder after round 22. If you want to join it, this will be your last opportunity to join it. So join it now while you still can. And that is my ladder after round 22. So there we go, guys. Those were my round 23 tips for the upcoming round, the last round, obviously, of the season. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to join my tipping comp if you haven't already. Obviously this will be probably the last opportunity you get to join it this year. But nonetheless, thank you so much to everyone who joined the comp. It's been great fun. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, like I said, trying to go the channel as big as we can. And I'm trying to get as many videos out as possible, also dealing with school and all that. So thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!